good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk Worldview with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe SJ. Will be joining us shortly. They are running behind schedule, trying to make it through this maze of New York City transportation, which is an enigma within itself. But tonight we got a great power pack program for you tonight. We have our brother Taye Uhuru coming in from the Republic of Cleveland, Cleveland, Ohio, in the building. So he'll be joining us in a few minutes. We want to introduce you all to this brother, young brother who have been doing some remarkable things, in the community. And I think you all will be interested in. Also, so many things that's happening in the news. I mean, you have this California recall election that's about to take place. I believe Larry Elder got the work when he came out to Tent City in Venice, California. I think it was yesterday. You also have recently released video footage of Miss Nikita Brown, who was assaulted by a Chicago police officer a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to get into that. And also, I thought it'd be very important that we introduce you all to the fundamentals of law of where you reside, because right now things are changing so rapidly within the law. In particular, as it relates to technology, it seems that the Supreme Court has not caught up with the advancement of technology, and then that leaves the door wide open to a total control of president mandates. So that's what we're seeing right now. Those of you who watch Thorough Black Talk Worldview, you know that we have been saying for many months now, as soon as the president started to make demands that the citizens of the United States get the jab, we have been saying that, for government employees in particular, where are these unions? Well, now you see a bunch of unions that are coming out. Some of them are beginning to file lawsuits against the federal government and state governments as it relates to these jab mandates. But is there a hidden agenda behind the scene? Well, Sister Keisha got that work, so we're going to definitely discuss it. And also, I'm going to show you how you all can stay abreast of the rapid change of law in the cities and states where you reside. I'm going to make it easy for you so you don't have to read a whole bunch of law briefs. I'm going to make it easy for you so that you can stay up to date with what's happening. Today, I believe the president had a press conference where now he is mandating, if you will, or suggestive thereof, that those who work and do business with health and hospital corporations, that they be fully vaccinated. So we're going to deal with all of that, because as this is happening, you see an advance, if you will, or a push for states' rights, which is very critical as it relates to African Americans here in this country. States like Texas, Florida, and Georgia, I believe, are leading the way. And we got to deal with all of that because it affects us directly. We're going to talk about this need to put a black face in high places to keep black people from speaking out against injustices in this country, to keep the poor from speaking out against injustices in this country. So we're gonna deal with all of that. It's legal eagle tonight. We getting it in because we get a lot of questions and requests for advice on what to do as it relates to these mandates, rapidly changing laws in your particular municipalities, your states, state constitutions are being pushed to the fore um, to stave off these federal mandates. Well, at least some states are, and those are in the aforementioned. But I want to give a special thorough Black Talk worldview salute to Sister Farnessa. Get better, get healthier, because we got to talk that smack. That's how we do. So we need you healthy and on point. So, speedy recovery to you and everyone else who's suffering out here because, you know, not just with supposed new COVID cases, because that too is suspect. Um, it has been reported, this is not hearsay or conspiracy theory, that a lot of illnesses that are reported in hospitals and even death have been misdiagnosed as COVID and other things. So we're going to deal with all of that. And I want you all to get into the mind frame of steering yourselves away from, if you will, gossip and rhetoric and innuendo, because all of this is distraction, if you will, to keep you off your square, to keep your attention diverted from what is really happening and not really paying attention. So we're going to deal with all of that. And again, special salute to Dr. Filet and the We Charge Genocide movement. They were here last weekend, and me and Brother Ashe was out there with them. So, and then hopefully in the near future, we will get Brother Imhotep back in here to talk about what took place and what's the next moves, or Dr. Filet herself, one of them, to get back in here. We want to give a special shout out to all of the brilliant scholars who keep pushing forward and giving our people education where they are, in particular places like TikTok and Instagram. A shout out to Baba Kameni. I love watching his page, and he breaks down history in a way that is palatable to even children. So shout out to him, and also shout out to my brother Knowledge Born Allah. We had our first conversation to help forge, if you will, a Black independent media coalition, because as I said in the beginning, laws are changing very rapidly, and it's important that we secure ourselves in our free voice, if you will. The Black voice, an independent Black voice, is now more critical than ever. And because of these gossip channels or celebrity gossip channels and things of that nature, they are reeling in on many platforms, and not including Black-owned social media platforms, because the laws are changing rapidly to maintain control of free speech. And that is very dangerous. So I'm going to give some shout outs real quick. Shout out to Shantice in the building. I will see you on the 25th on the Brooklyn Bridge as we take our annual walk in honor of Nas Keish Jackson Grant leukemia. We got to find a cure for that, and it's critical. So meet me on the Brooklyn Bridge September 25th if you're interested, and rock out with Brooklyn. Sister Marie, good evening. Nice to see you. Shout out to Sister Joyce, Brother Monty in the building always. Give a shout out to, oh yeah, Sister Electra. Shout out to you. Brother Ray, great presentation last night with Dr. Arthur Lewis. For those who don't know, you can go to YouTube and follow the BK William Macri History Club, and we will make sure on Thorough Black Talk Worldview when those Zoom classes go live so that you all can tune in. All right. Um, yeah, for Head Start programs too. Yes, this is too much. This is too much. And please understand that. What's up, brother Knowledge Born Allah? Please understand that, I'm not saying you shouldn't take the jab, but don't hinder me from not doing that. Do what you feel, whatever floats your boat, go right on ahead. But to mandate such behaviors is not democratic. And a lot of legal scholars are speaking out against this, if you will. And again, later on in the show, I'm going to show you how you can all stay abreast of these legal arguments where you reside on a daily basis or weekly basis. Shout out to Dr. Filet always. Sister Aminetu, you keep pushing forward, keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. When our sisters can work on themselves, because people take it for granted, the fortitude and the tenacity and the work ethic of Black women. We have been trained, if you will, to push through any and everything and not complain about it. And generation after generation, the fabric of the Black woman is beginning to deteriorate because it's beginning to be too much. So when you take a minute to take care of yourself, it is for the betterment of yourselves, your family, and your community. So I commend you on doing that. Yes. It was our pleasure to do so, sis. Yes, financial unity. Sister Angela in the building. Gotta get you on here soon, sis. I'm gonna hit you on a DM because I don't want nobody ask me for no bread. So you better know how to get your own bread. Brother Magnetic Tyson, peace in the building. My older big brother, always teaching, always educating, and giving you information, knowledge, and wisdom and understanding to help you guide through this sick maze that we are dealing with on a daily basis, and it's becoming worse by the minute. Sister Lecture said, if I may, my show is gearing back up Mondays and Fridays. Yes, we definitely will check you out. Always. Knowledge Born is the hardest working man in the business. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it. Because he be running 24/7. His media platform don't be playing. Yeah, she working through it, brother. She working through it. Yes, indeed, brother. Yes, indeed. So again, family, we just gonna get right into it because we have our guests coming in about 15 minutes now. As we wait for Brother Tad and Brother Ashe to get up in here, I want you all, if you can, give me your perspective on what you feel about these federal mandates. As far as the jab is concerned, as far as how you move about your life, where you reside. Also, we had yes, I'm not gonna put that on the screen, but I see what you're talking about. But what are your feelings? What about your employment, where you reside? Are you in jeopardy of losing employment if you refuse, to take the jab? What's happening where you reside? I want to know, because if we can speak out as a unit, it takes our argument further. Because when during the day or late at night, depending on the time zone, various municipalities have community board meetings, And I try to watch as many of them as I possibly can, to stay abreast of what's happening in various states and cities, because we are going to have to fight together, whether you're for or against. And again, that's not for me to say what you should do, but it is critical that we have choice. Many people from around the globe come to the United States because of choice. And right now, the Democratic machine is taking that away from us. They are using scare tactics and fear tactics and all kind of tactics, to get you to go along. Sis says people at my job already quit, and that's another big thing. If you look around the country, in particular, those in the healthcare field, those in teaching, are walking away from their employment. So, when you see, um, all of the arguments, if you will, about these mandates, understand that people are not just going to take it. They're not going to take it. And this totalitarian way of thinking from President Biden, the Congress, the Democratic led Congress and Senate, is disgusting. And I always say that the Democratic Party has always been more lethal as far as the populace is concerned for people. And they like to use scare tactics, and their media machine is very good at that. They are, got to give credit where credit is due. They put a lot of fear in a lot of people, and a lot of persuasive messaging on various media platforms. So, sis, I feel you. People are leaving. She said her employment is in jeopardy. HR is surfing around at each head. Yeah, 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 yeah. And the thing is, lawyers, it's very important that you begin to seek out individuals enough to forge a federal lawsuit against the government for doing this, because not only have they broken the U.S. Constitution, but various parts of the Patriot Act. And I ain't pro Patriot Act. Don't put that out there. However, when you read it, they are even breaking some of that protocol. And then what's happening in nations around the globe? You have heads of state who are murdered. You have heads of state who are threatened if they don't go along to get along. You have various governments in jeopardy if they don't go along to get along. And hopefully next week, we will be able to deal with what's happening in South Africa right now. Because if you all, let me digress for a minute. If you all remember in the beginning when we first started, and we started talking about the Black First, Land First movement, one of the things that I talked about was the need for us to look at who's funding this movement. And I talked about the Gupta family. And I said, this is very dangerous, and it's going to come back to bite Mr. Zuma. And sure enough, it has come back to bite him. So next week, hopefully, we'll be able to break all of that down. I see my brother Ashe SJ in the building. Yes, she says city agencies won't fire DOE workers. They will put us on leave of absence. And according to our contract, we cannot be employed at any other job while on leave. Now, tell me that's not criminal. This is what I'm saying. And we're going to go through some things to show that this is criminal. The problem is we don't have enough legal geniuses to take this system on. Brother Ray said it is not working, so they are moving toward force taking the slab, and we voted for it. Not me, but you know who you are. When we, in the beginning, before the election, go back to the old episodes of Thorough Black Talk Worldview. We talked about not voting in this election. And I talked about the dangers of us doing so. But we're going to get into all of that. And as we talk about this, I want you to keep in mind, because later on in the program, we're going to talk about Sister Nikita Brown, who was assaulted by a Chicago PD officer a couple of weeks ago. So we'll get into that. But remember what we're talking about now, because it's very important with that part, that story. Sister Marie said, the sad part is I don't want to quit my job. It's my career. She said, do they control our programs that once was part of the Black Panther Party? That's important. And see, the Democratic machine, let me just say this, has always been a thorn in the side for African Americans from our enslavement till now. They just have a media propaganda machine to make you believe otherwise. And listen, I'm not pro-Republican either. You understand? A devil is a devil to me. But I can see clearly, and I understand that when you take part in certain things without knowing the full political platform of these individuals, it will be to your detriment. So we have to be more aware as voters. And again, we will touch on that. She said, position and platform, we charge Genocide 21, position and platform clearly states, we reserve the right and I have a plan of action for resistance. Let's see who will support our proactive stance or help protect and defend our people. That's a good move. But I want our people to understand this. We have to fight on various fronts, right? And to put all of our eggs in one basket is very dangerous. And that's what African Americans and poor people in this country have done for generations as it relates to the Democratic Party or the voting process in general. So we have to be very, very careful about that. And everybody can't fight the same fight, right? Ashe does what he does. I do what I do. Tad do what she does. Dr. Filet do what she do. You know, everybody has something to offer to liberation. So we can't be everywhere for everybody and fighting in one particular fight. So we'll deal with that later on as well. Sister said, I didn't vote for none of them. I hear that. You know, God is loving you on that one. Whatever God you worship, God say, stay away from evil. Stay away from evil at all costs. There is no lesser of two evils. She said they came around and gave us cookies for Juneteenth like they cared. And months later, we are being threatened to be fired. Devils for sure. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, sis. It's real. It's real out here. But before we move on, I see my brother Ashe in the building. How you feeling, Ashe? What's good with you? I seen you modeling over the weekend out there in them streets. I see you, boy.
What's the word? What's the word, family? It's your brother Ashe SJ in the building. Shout out to everybody that always supports us. Please make sure y'all share this video right now before we get into the hot topics. We got another powerful guest that's coming on tonight. Sister Keisha, then check the background. Look like the brother has been doing a lot of work. I'm not familiar with the brother, so I'm excited to learn. And like we always say, this is our platform. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Taye, Keisha, and Ashe platform. This is a community platform. This is for all of our people to showcase our skills, for us to connect with each other. You know what I'm saying? So that we can all utilize each other's gifts and talents and utilize our own talents. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you never even know what you're capable of until you collaborate with another powerful African, you know? So this is our platform. It's a community platform. If anybody that's watching has anything that, you know, they feel like they could share. I know Keisha just said a sister commented and said that she's organizing and putting an action plan together. You know what I'm saying? these are things that we need. We not up here to sit here and preach to the choir. Like I tell you on the show, Ashe, I don't like talking to the choir. I like talking to the people that never heard this information before. Because 9 times out of 10, those are the ones that's going to be enthusiastic. And as soon as they get a little bit of information, they're going to pick up the hammer and the nails and get to work. Versus these people that got so comfortable in regurgitating information, they just sit back and all they want to do is mental masturbate all the time. Sit on their chair like an armchair revolutionary, like we like to call them. And they don't really get active and get out in the street, you know? So we all got to come together. This is an open forum. We are open to having other brothers and sisters. As long as you solid, as long as you know we keep it thorough up here. This ain't none of these other YouTube platforms. We don't do this for YouTube or none of that. But with that being said, well, before I share something, because I see we got our guests in the background. Before I share, I want to share this video, but I just want to make a quick comment. Oh, I see my big brother Tad in the building. I just want to make a quick comment on what you was talking about, Keisha. So I don't know if a lot of people have been paying attention to the news. I mean, myself, I like to dabble in and out because we know it's all tabloid now, especially CNN is like a tabloid. But this new speech that Biden gave today, where he's talking about his action plan. Actually, they call it, I got it right here pulled up. They call it the Biden COVID action plan. Can y'all see that? Biden COVID action plan. So you can actually go and look up his plan. His plan from his speech is in this document. So you can go and look up this document. And I want to show you real quick. What's at the top? Let's just curiosity check what's the #1 bullet point of his action plan. Y'all tell me what that say. Hold on. Let me see if y'all can read it. Can you read that? Y'all see it?
It's blurry.
It said #1 says vaccinate the unvaccinated. That's #1. Let me see. I blew it up a little bit so you can see it. Vaccinate the unvaccinated. That's the #1 bullet point in the action, in the Biden action plan. You could go look this document up, family. So this is what we dealing with. We already heard in his speech, he also talked about they like to use the word encouraging, but in all actuality, we know it's intimidating. They say things that they can do to encourage people to get more vaccines or more jabs, I should say. Encourage more jabs. But we know it's intimidation to make people get these jabs. So now what they're talking about is private businesses, private owned businesses. I believe they said they starting with businesses that have 100 and more employees. So if you work for a company, not even a government company, but a company that's a private business, but it's a large business that has 100 or more employees, they are gonna make it mandatory for those businesses to have all of their employees get this jab. And if they don't, it's gonna be thousands of dollars worth of fines for each individual that don't have the jab. So this is just the beginning. They just rolling it out. They trying to see, they know legally they can't mandate it all across the board, but they finding all of the loopholes so that ultimately they could close all the gaps up and try to get, like I just showed you, jab all the unjabbed. That's his #1 bullet point. And remember, we talked last week about how they keep talking about these articles about children. Now they're putting the pressure on the schools. They saying the children under 12, they getting sick. And they at risk. They use these target words to get your blood boiling. Oh, they at risk now. So, oh, not the children, not the babies. That's what some of y'all gonna say. Run out there and get this jab to y'all kids when y'all kids is naturally healthy. You know what I'm saying? But this is what's going down, family. So y'all can look up that joint, that document. I want to share this video real quick too. But brother Tab, before I do, what's the word, brother? How you?
Ain't none. I'm chilling, man. Just laid back. But don't let me stop the flow. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Well, I just want to share this video real quick because I got to salute. First of all, shout out to everybody that came to our event 2 Sundays ago.
Yes.
We had an event at Nicholas, Brooklyn. Solid African, Tag, Keisha, Ashe, SJ was in the building. And we had our sister Marilyn, who got on the microphone, and we had a point where we just let everybody that has a business or a skill get on the mic. And this sister got on and she talked about how she's doing work right now in Brooklyn to open up and renovate this space to make it a community garden. Well, your brother Ashe did some digging. And Sister Marilyn, she gave me the info. So I told her I'm going to share it with the people, everybody that was in the building, or if you didn't get the chance to make it, share this information now. But this is her information right here. Her name is Marilyn The Chef. Y'all can follow her on Instagram, Marilyn The Chef on Instagram. But this is what she got going on. These are, like we said, we don't deal with armchair revolutionaries. These are people that really get active, fundraise, make videos, do whatever they got to do to change these spaces. You can see in the background, this is just like an abandoned building or something. I don't know. They must have got the land. They acquired the property, and now they're going to turn it into a garden. So I'm going to play this quick video. It's a 30-second video.
Marilyn The Chef, thriving in our new garden space. Remember, we're asking for money because we want this to be filled with what the garden needs to produce food, to teach classes, like beds, soil, getting the wall behind us fixed, doing all these great things to such a divine space in a divine location. Look at our mother tree. Isn't she divine? For the people, by the people, learn how to grow your own food.
Yeah, family. So the sister is doing some work, man. So please, y'all could go. This is her GoFundMe page. All of the donations go towards the space. And she's also having an amazing brunch event. I will be in the building. I'm talking about they got the food. They got a DJ. It's going to be a whole vibe. They're giving out gift bags and all kind of craziness. She's a chef. She's been doing a lot of work, you know. So I'm definitely going to support her. And I said I'll share it for everybody that was in the building. I said they wanted to partake in what she got going on. Make sure y'all follow Marilyn The Chef on Instagram. And I'm going to post a link for the GoFundMe and all of that. If you want to come check out the brunch, all proceeds go towards building this community garden. They're going to be having free classes in the garden, teaching people how to cook. If you want to be a chef and go get your license, they're teaching people how to do that. They're growing food. It's a whole vibe, family. So please support the sister, Marilyn The Chef, from your brother Ashe SJ. I will be in the building for that brunch. Keisha, Taye, y'all going to have to pull up, get some vegan everything. I don't know, vegan or whatever. You know what I'm saying? What they do at
chicken.
Omelets? I'm getting me a vegan omelet.
I want chicken.
I ain't want chicken. Tab was playing the chef over the Labor Day weekend. I ain't getting my burger yet. I'm telling you, Tab was starting trouble between his sons and everything, arguing over the grill. Don't be rolling with Tad. Tad is a daggone troublemaker. Then he
I'm a chef when it comes to the grill. I take it serious.
Then he brought out the training.
Oh yeah.
You know, virtual gun training. Stop playing. So we gotta get into that later, brother Tad. You gotta tell everybody about that. All right, so we got our guest in queue. We want to bring him in because he is 3 hours, I believe, ahead of us. So he's up pretty late. So we got to bring him in here real quick. So without further ado, we got our brother, Taye. What's good with you? How you doing? Cleveland's finest in the building. How do I know? See, Sister Keisha do homework. Now, my sister, Angela, said you was thorough, right? She said he thorough. That's my brother. He thorough. I said, all right, he thorough. All right. All right. You know, she said he's solid. Look at it. She said he's solid. So, brother, you know, tell the people who you are, first of all. Who are you?
Oh yeah, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. It's definitely an honor. Big shout out to Angie. I'm Taye Uhuru. I'm a historian, a genealogist, a world traveler. I've been to almost 70 countries. I'm a musician, and I do a lot of other things as well.
So are you a native of Cleveland? Your parents a native of Cleveland? How did you come about that?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, I hear that accent. Stop playing. I'm checking. So tell us about, Camp Cleveland. What is that? What's that about?
Camp Cleveland, that's just in reference to my music. A lot of people know me as Camp Cleveland.
Okay.
Camp is just another way for saying team, posse, crew. And Cleveland, that's my city, so I'm always representing no matter where I'm at in the world.
Got you. And we're gonna play one of his videos, Do Revolutionaries Go to Heaven, in a few minutes. But I wanted to know, brother, you stated in your bio you study various Afro cultures, if you will. What made you want to do that? A brother coming from Cleveland, native of Cleveland, want to do that.
Man, I always had a love and admiration for Black people, African people. When I was little, my grandmother told me about her father, my great grandfather, Doc Travis. He had moved up to Cleveland from Atlanta in the 1920s during the Great Migration, and he joined the UNIA. So she would tell me about the parades and the marches and the different things that she's seen, and she would tell me that her father told her that we were Africans and we should go back to Africa. So I always just admired history and learning. And my mom, she gave me my first Black history book, Black History A to Z. And my uncle, he started his own Black nationalist organization, in the 1960s. So it's something that's been consistent throughout my family for the last 100 years. You know what I'm saying? So, I just got to carry on the tradition for sure.
That's what's up. Now you said that studied abroad and also taught abroad. Can you give our viewers some of those countries or places and where you studied and taught?
Okay, I studied abroad in Dominican Republic in 2014. I was studying the Spanish language, Caribbean, Latino culture. I studied Caribbean diseases. I was learning about the different foods that people eat and stuff like that. It was a great experience. You know what I'm saying? We went to the hospitals. We got a chance to view parasites and feces and different things. You know what I'm saying? That was affecting people, the way that we eat, the slave culture and the slave foods and different things like that. It was a very beautiful country, very friendly people. But the highlight of my experience of living on that island was I got a chance to volunteer at orphanages, in the afternoon. So, we would donate clothes, we would donate money, we would volunteer, we would paint the orphanage, clean it out. Now, I didn't teach in a traditional sense, but I did a lot of tutoring, working with the different kids, bringing my laptop up there, letting them play educational games, translating, teaching them a little bit of history, teaching them a little bit of English, doing mathematics and different things like that, so.
That's what's up. So I want to know your
I've studied in
personal
Brazil.
experience with the people of the Dominican Republic. What are your thoughts on how they feel about African people in general? Because there has been some issues as it relates to their neighbor Haiti, which also
Mm-hmm.
held freedom. So, what has been your experience in the DR?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to add, I studied in Brazil too. But from my experience, like when you go into Latin America and the Caribbean and South America, they have more problems with colorism because there's more Black people down there than it is in America. And they was colonized by the Spanish and the Portuguese who, they're white Europeans, but their relationship was a little bit different from our relationship with the English, where we were separated. If your mom is Black and your dad is white, you Black. If your grandmother is Black, whatever down the line, one drop, all of y'all is Black. So they kind of have different caste systems. So in the Dominican Republic, you may see people more like, oh, I'm not Black, or, they may make reference to dark skinned people. But in America, it's kind of similar. People won't say that I'm not Black, but if they'll say, well, I'm not an African, I'm not from Africa. You know what I'm saying? So it's similar, but it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Because here in New York City, we have a large Dominican population.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there has been a lot of issues as it relates to that group. in particular in the East Harlem area, where they feel that, well, not all, but a large majority feel that they need to push African Americans up out of there. And so they had, even on a gang level, Brooklyn gang, black brothers had to go up there and check them. You out of pocket, because it's getting to be that way. And we see here in the United States, as it relates to the political process, they have been used as a dividing factor when it comes to the general populace of African people, if you will, as a group here in the United States. They have more sided with the European, the Yoruba, in this country. So I just wanted to know your perspective, but you gave me that. But I want to know, because you said you taught in Brazil as well. What is your experience living abroad there? How was that?
Okay, well, I studied abroad in Brazil. This was in 2016, so this was about 2 years later. Now, Brazil is kind of more like the United States. It's a little bit more racist. It's a little more segregation. But in Brazil, it's a lot more black people. The majority of Brazilians are black, and the majority of them are either mixed with black. The Dominican Republic is like that as well. Most Dominicans are black or mixed with black. But in Brazil, one of the things that I notice is Brazilians will say this dance comes from Angola. This martial arts comes from Angola. This food comes from the Congo. This religion comes from Nigeria. They tend to give it up more for Africa, whereas in the United States, it's kind of like it's just we were slaves and now we African Americans. There's really no direct references to the motherland. So that may be one of the problems that they have in the DR, where they're looking at their motherland as Spain or a European country. So even though they look like us, even though people look at me and say I look Dominican, they'll think like, like a European person and behave like a European person. And that's throughout North and South, anywhere where Europeans went. So it's not just the DR, is what I want to say. It's people like that all up and down, as far as our people is concerned.
Facts, facts, facts. Now, you also are a musician and have traveled throughout the globe, performing this genre of hip hop, if you will.
Keisha,
Go ahead.
before you move on to the music, I want to ask the brother about traveling. Yo, peace, brother. Good to have you on the show, man.
Peace, King.
Yeah. So, yeah, while we on the topic of traveling, bro, because it's very powerful, like the act of traveling specifically for lack of a better word, charity work. But you know what I'm saying, like to help people out. It's a very powerful thing and a feeling in that. And not enough people, like our people, especially African Americans, know that there's connections where you can actually go to Africa for free, and do this work, where a lot of these charitable organizations, they will pay for your ticket for you to go to Ghana and teach at a school. You might even get a stipend. You know what I'm saying? So can you tell our audience, because I know a lot of our brothers and sisters, we talk Africa all day, but not enough of us been there. And a lot of our people, like we were talking earlier, got gifts and trades and things of that nature. Can you tell them how you learned about, being able to travel and work with these organizations, for instance, working in a school or working in a charity and things of that nature? And what's the importance of doing that, and explain that feeling? And then also, if you could just give people the information on how you learned about being able to travel and do this kind of work.
Man, I mean, I started traveling when I was young, just around the country. My mom used to drive the Greyhound bus, so she'd take us on trips, me and my brothers and sisters, to places like Detroit, New York, Chicago. So I developed a love for traveling at an early age. And then once I got older, like I said, I always loved African history and African people. So I was the person that was like, I'm gonna go out there. Because when I first started going to Africa, maybe 10 years ago, you would try to Google something, say South Africa or any part of Africa, it would always be something negative. It was very hard to find positive information. You didn't have as many positive videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So I did communicate with the Africans that I did know beforehand. So the first place that I went to South Africa, and there was somebody there that I knew, and then along the way, I've been to about 15, 20 African countries. So I just try to network and connect with like-minded people. I always let them know that I am an African and I do want to help my people out. And I look for ways, I look for schools. Like I'm in Cape Verde right now. So we're supposed to go to a school tomorrow. We bought like book bags and school supplies, and we go to recreation centers. So I would say, just for African Americans, just do your research and understand that Africa has almost 60 different countries. Africa has more countries than any other continent in the world. Africa is the most genetically diverse continent on the planet. But a lot of times when we see something, we may see it's a war in Nigeria and think that the entire continent is at war. Or we may think it's a disease in this specific country and the whole continent is affected. So we still got to break that mental shackle that we have, that Africa is a very dangerous place. There's dozens of African countries that are far safer than the United States. Lower crime rate, less gun violence, less mass shootings, and definitely, first and foremost, less racial oppression. So a lot of our brothers and sisters from Africa, they welcome us with open arms. Despite the rumors, the biggest thing is fear. The first thing we hear is they don't like us, they don't want us over there. But a lot of times that comes from people who never actually been. They never had a chance to visit. They never had a chance to experience that hospitality. So, you just got to do your research. You got to overcome that fear and take advantage of the internet. You can look up all of these things that I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You can reach out to Africans all across the continent. You can message people. You can video chat live. You can go on podcasts and radio shows. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. And you reminded me too, because a few years back on our platform, we had this brother that I'm cool with, who's a part of this organization called Basics. And so that's one outlet for the people that, if you are interested in traveling and things of that nature. Of course, our brother Tad has a school out there. He has a school, and he will be going in February, but you got to get your money up. But there are other organizations. For instance, we had our brother from Basics on, and Basics, to each his own. We don't bash up here, but Basics it stands for brothers, something about Christ or something like that. Something about Christ. It's a Black-owned company, and they do work, and they would literally get the government to, I don't know how they do it, but they get money and they pay you, and you could go to Ghana, you could live there for 6 months to a year, I think, and they pay you a stipend, and you be out there teaching whatever skill you got. I think my boy, he wasn't even a professor, but he was just teaching like music. I think he was teaching music to the children in Ghana, and they was out there paying him. He got to go to Africa for free. So what this brother is talking about is real, family. Like, if you really are determined to make it to the motherland, ain't nothing gonna stop you. The ancestors gonna call you. This brother heard the call. He's doing the work. As you can see, Sister Keisha is showing his website in the background, so please make sure y'all go check that out. And but basically, y'all can look up Basics International. That's one organization that I know about. But like the brother said, ask Google. Just ask Google. Go on Google and type it in and do the work, family. Ain't no excuses. But yeah, Keisha, you wanted to get into, because I want to hear some of the brothers' music as well too, man. So you want to go into that?
Definitely. That's where we was leading to. But I wanted to show people the website. I'll put the link in the chat, and we'll highlight that throughout, so you guys can check out the website, because he got a full-fledged store on here, as well as various trips that he is planning, in case you want to go, if you're in that region or out. Reach out to them, and he has payment plans and all that, so you can definitely check that out. But this genre of hip-hop, which is tricky within itself. Before we move on, because right after your answer, we're going to pull up that video of yours, Do Revolutionaries Go to Heaven? We're going to pull that up. But before that, this genre of hip-hop, what are your thoughts on the state of hip-hop today?
You
Come
want
on
my
with the
honest
real,
opinion?
brother. Come on with the real.
I don't know. It may be controversial, but I think hip hop, you know, it kind of ran its course. It's kind of like you had rock and roll in the 50s. You had Chuck Berry and Little Richard. You know, that was the original rock and roll. And then after so many years, times changed. You got hard rock, heavy metal, alternative. Just like you got mumble rap. That's not really hip hop to me. You got gangster rap. You got crump. You know, they just like subsects of hip hop because there's no more b-boys and graffiti and breakdancing, and you know what I'm saying. So you know, I still love hip hop, and there's still some legends that's still around that's still making hip hop music. But I think what we hearing now today is not really hip hop at all. It's no content. It's not a lot of messages in it. It's not positive. You know, it don't have the 5 elements. So you know.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting you say that, brother, because I mean, I feel older and older when I hear these artists, Lil Baby, Dub Baby, Baby Baby, all them. I don't know. I can't keep track of the babies. There's too many babies now.
Right.
But I started adapting a little bit and starting to like vibe with it and see where they coming from, you know. But it's like a sub genre. It's not like the regular genre of what we grew up listening to and things like that. It's like a subculture, and that's for the teens and the kids and all of that. But you know what I like to say about hip hop too, and it's something that a revelation that I kind of came upon more recently, because before I was a big hater of all of these new people making this crazy mumble rap music and all of that. But to me, in my opinion, hip hop has always been a reflection of the times. You know, it's always been a reflection of the people. And if we don't like the way hip hop is right now, then we shouldn't. It's because we don't like the way our people are right now. Because what the people are showcasing in their lyrics and their music is what they're going through. I mean, that's what hip hop has always been. You know, talking about what's happening right in your neighborhood, what you see right before, because that's all we saw. We didn't get to go out of the neighborhood back in the days, you know. So we talking about what we experienced. And if they talking about drugs and girls on girls, all this craziness they talking about, then we just got to realize we got a lot more work to do as Africans, because that's literally just a reflection of our people right now. It's unfortunate, but we can't hate so much, you know what I'm saying? Because like when we go down I live in Bed-Stuy, so when I go down the street, the things they say in the songs, these young boys and girls, they out here doing that stuff. Like you think it's crazy, like they just talking about it in a song. They really doing that stuff, popping these white people drugs. It's crazy wars going on out here in Brooklyn. Like I'm sure you know Cleveland. It's crazy, you know. So it's really just a reflection of our people. And I always look at it like we just got to do more work to help our people. And if our people are uplifted and elevated, if they listening to this Camp Cleveland music and they get their mind right, then their experience, their life, their lived experience is going to be better. And then hence the music will be better, you know? But if the music is the way it is now, that's because that's how the people are right now. So that's how I look at it, bro. What you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that the music is a reflection. I mean, regardless of what genre, you know, you got jazz, like I say, you got rock, you had I'm trying to think, you got house music, you got reggae, you got reggaeton. You know, it's always a reflection of the culture, but I just feel like when you say it's hip hop, I'm thinking of Run DMC and Rakim and Eric B and Big Daddy Kane. So it's like if you got the Baby or Little Nas X, call it mumble rap or something, you know, which they do, but it's not a defining line. It's still connected. Like, oh, sometimes they're like, oh, this is hip hop. So it's just, for me, when I was born in the 80s, I remember my brothers spinning records and having albums and looking at the art of storytelling, Slick Rick and Boogie Down Productions and Criminal Minded. So, you know, I'll listen to the new music, but I just consider it like kind of something else a little bit. But I understand what you're saying. You are right in what you're saying as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play devil advocate. Here we
oh man, people don't need no advocates. We don't need no more advocates now.
Here he go. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because I remember quite a few years ago, and I'm going to see if I can find that information. Again, family, for those of you who want to check out the brother's website, the link is in the chat. please do so. Please, please visit the website. But I remember interviews with Rick Rubin, with Clive Davis, with I forget his name real quick. He was the founder of Cadillac Records. In their interviews given at 3 different times, different time periods, all 3 said they dictate what the music should be based on what they feel Black, or who they feel Black people are. So are our people, is hip hop a reflection of what's happening now, or are the people a reflection of what they are hearing, what is being told to them? Because media propaganda is very powerful, not just in hip hop, but media in general, even in gaming, which is why I asked Brother Tad to talk about what he had going on this past weekend a little bit later. It forges in your mind a belief system, an image of yourself. Just go back to the doll test. That wasn't a reflection of who we are. That's what was propagated to those children. So I have to ask the question, are we leading the culture, or is someone else leading a propaganda thought process of what that culture is? And that takes a steady eye and a steady ear. But we'll let you answer that a little bit later. But I want to get into this video, and y'all got to follow the brother on YouTube. I saw that interview you did with DJ Yella the other day or yesterday. I checked that out for sure. But here's the video. Oh yeah, I do my homework. Here's our brothers Jim, Do Revolutionaries Go to Heaven?
Oh, you gotta share it, sis.
Y'all hear that?
Yes.
Dear God, I got one question. I need to know, do revolutionaries go to heaven? And if so, may their legacies last forever and their seeds grow. Tell them that we love them so and never let them die slow. It's like we cursed to be born black. We was kings and queens, now look where we at. I know it won't be long before we take it back. I just hope I live long enough to see it happen. And that's a fact. Cause one thing, when you pro-black, you might love your people, but they may not love you back. For more than 400 years, we've been under attack. We survived slavery and then they gave us crack. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? 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 I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope so. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope my mind runs 1,000,000 miles per hour. They can't stop me, they ain't got the power. If they put me in the ground, I still rise like a flower, higher than the Eiffel Tower. Ancestors give me power to devour each and every enemy and every doubt. It's for Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, Martin Luther King, and Rosa Parks, Bob Marley, and Peter Tosh, and all the slaves who had to run away in the dark. You in my heart. It's for the lost martyrs, the Omar Majeeds and Bunchy Carters, and all the comrades that's locked away on false charges, and all the soldiers that fought regardless, and those who died in the freedom rides and long marches. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? 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 I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope so. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope so.
Yeah. That's
Thank
fire.
you for playing that. I appreciate that.
We like
Nah,
that.
that
We
jam was
like
dope.
that.
That's fire.
That was dope.
That
That's
make you
what's
think.
up.
Thought provoking right there. I like that.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
so it takes me back to my question. You know, is he reflecting the times? Or is he pushing a propaganda to make us see things in a different light?
Keisha done started debate up today.
See, the thing is, we have to be very careful with that because he mentioned earlier that, you know, certain things run its course. And when we do that, it allows other people to take it, run with it, and do what they want. Because right now, if you ask the average person on the street, black, white, or whoever, who's the king of rock and roll, they gonna say Elvis. So we have to be very mindful of that. But I want to know your thoughts, brother. What you think? And that video was tight. The song is tight too. If it was trash, I'll tell you it was trash. But it was tight. I like that.
Yeah, tell us you got any project, or was that off of a project, or was that just a single?
Yeah, just a single. Last year I dropped like 2 videos. My other video is called The Blacker the Berry, The Sweeter the Juice, but I don't have like an official album or nothing yet, you know, so.
That's what's up. Okay. So the people got something to look forward to. The brother is dropping little sweet tastes right there for y'all. That was fire though, man. I want to hear another one, honestly, because that joint, that was on point, man. That was a vibe right there. I want to hear some more too. We're gonna have to share something. We're gonna have to do a listening. When you do your first project, we're gonna have a listening party up here for real.
Wow, man, I appreciate that.
Yes, definitely. Yes, indeed. We do exclusives up here. You know, we do real exclusives up here. But, you know, so again, we have to be very careful about when we put that out that, you know, and I'm not disagreeing with your perspective, but I just want us to be mindful when we put these things out, especially as it relates to youth music, and youth music is hip hop. You know what I mean? It's youth music. However, in light of some comments that Andre 3000 recently made, that you know, older people need to step back from hip hop. And that's not the case as it relates to rock and roll or any other genre of music. I listen to jazz, I listen to classical, you know, I listen to it all. My musical palette is quite extensive. But when he said that comment, it really bothered me, because he then again opens that door for other people to take over it and do what they will. You understand? You need the elders as gatekeepers as to what hip hop really is and what it should be. Because if you don't, that's where you get your Lil Nas X's and everybody else to run up in there and do what they want. Because there are no gatekeepers. And right now, the elders in hip hop are playing a sucker role, in my opinion. They've been too silent for too long while the foolishness has been going on, right? Because they want to be liked by everyone. But, you know, your thoughts on that. Do we need to safeguard this genre and all genres of music that we create?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hip hop is a prime example. I think kind of when hip hop first started, like they always say, they didn't even think it was going to last. So it was like by the time it started developing, You had Public Enemy, you had KRS-One, you had Rakim. We talking about self-destruction, and we talking about uplifting our people. You had the Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubian. So it was reflective at that point, because you could talk about the house party, you could talk about the drugs in the streets. You had songs like The Message. You could talk about what the police was doing to people. It was a variety, you know, but now it's more like propaganda. Because if you listen to the radio now, it'll be 10 rappers. They names all sound the same. The beat sound the same. The song is about the same thing. It's like a long song. But if you had a song with, say, like KRS-One, you had a song with Rakim and a song with Big Daddy Kane, they sounded totally different. If you put them on each other's beats, on different beats, it would be a whole nother song. You know what I'm saying? So
That's my point. That's my point. Because, and it goes back to what I said in the beginning. The reason why they all sound the same is because I told you the three money makers in the business said, and I quote, they tell us what they see the culture as. And if anybody don't meet that standard, then we're gonna push you over to the side a little bit. We might give you some of y'all a deal, but we ain't gonna push you like we should. Know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, brother, tell your thoughts.
I was gonna say real quick that yeah, you're right. I agree totally, you know, but I think it's a bit of both, because we make the culture. You know what I'm saying? They don't make nothing at all. So even though they are directing it and promoting the narrative that they want, you know, you also have other narratives. Like you got a whole underground movement of hip hop that you might not hear about as often, but they doing shows. You know what I'm saying? They might not be all on a big MTV and all of that, but you know, they got their own community underground. You know, you got people like, especially where this brother travels, like all these other countries, Brazil, even in Japan, even in all of these European places, like you got people that's like, man, none of that mainstream, we don't listen. They don't even listen to that stuff. They really promote real hip hop ciphers, battling, lyricism, and things of that nature. You know, but what we talking about is mainstream hip hop. So I totally agree.
But yeah, but the duality of it is that it is controlled by forces outside of ourselves to crush the African spirit, to crush us having self-determination. I mean, we can remember when Jerry Heller said the reason why he formed NWA, because he was tired of the New York hip hop, the big chain, black medallion hip hop, and he said big penis hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because let's not even get into the penis envy that Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about. But we got to understand the psychology that goes into promoting our music. Because when we say mainstream, we talking about it getting to the masses, and they control the not necessarily the production of it, but they control the distribution of it. So we'll have our brother Taye and other brothers like Brother Bomani, brothers who put out music that uplift our people, that's thought provoking. However, that spirit gets crushed and it's minimized. And propaganda is all about spreading the word, whether it's true or false. It's just about spreading it. So now what we have is a misunderstanding of who we are as African people, and not by the masses of people in Europe and all these other places. I'm going to speak to that too, but just by our own people, to constantly put the music out there that sings about our death. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, we're the only group of people on the planet Earth that actually sing songs, make songs, and celebrate our death and demise. And you think about it, there's really nothing you could turn on the radio right now that really has a shred of consciousness. And if you do find something small with a little bit of consciousness, we'll hold that up as if that's the end all be all, when our music should have been evolved, when we gave the whole world music. The truth be told, since we're the original people, we introduced the drum, we introduced string instruments to the planet. So when it travels around the world, and to your point, Ashe, other people do like our underground music, but they exploit it as well because they want our music, but they don't want us. Look at Japan, look at China. They love our music. Make no mistake about it. They love our image. We can't even deny that. But do they love us as a people? Because now when they come into our areas, when they come to Africa, when they come to Flatbush, how do they treat the women and children? Because they don't play with the brothers. You know, they don't play with the brothers, but nonetheless, they disrespect our women, they disrespect our children, because they know our women produce the children, which is the future of our existence. Because you see what goes on in Africa. So all of these other people, they can love our underground music, they can love our mainstream music, but they don't love us. So all they're doing is another form of exploitation, just taking what they want from us and discarding what we have. And this is the whole reason why they haven't wiped us off on a global scale. Because make no mistake about it, all of them are practicing genocide. This is why when we talk about our music, they promote genocidal music. They give young, ignorant people millions of dollars to promote a culture of death. Because though we create the culture, they create the taste. These enemies to us create the taste and said, this is what's hot. This is what's going on. It's like when drug dealing was looked down in our community at one point. But what did they do? They gave the drug dealer the fly car. They gave him the nice clothes. They gave him the jewelry and sent them to impoverished neighborhoods, to where people are like, yo, I want to eat like you. I want to make sure that I got money coming in every day. And he's like, yo, all you got to do is sell this poison. You going to eat. Everybody else may starve or die, but you going to eat. And it made us selfish and individualistic, and we stopped being a communal people. And our music reflects that. So I would say, from my observation and being somebody just a little bit older, who's seen the evolution of hip hop from its inception to where it's at now, because I can remember when there was no hip hop. I can remember we had to listen to Hole and Oates and Blondie, and I mean, outside of our music, you know, the OJs, the Temptations and all that stuff. But when you turned on TV, that's what you heard. When you watched American Bandstand after Soul Train, this is what you heard. This was the video shows. Because I'm from an era, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sister Keisha, but yo, we used to watch a television show just because there was going to be a black person on it. Just because we wanted to see our people, because you got to remember, in the 50s, there were no black people on TV. Not at all. Not the Honeymooners, not My Three Sons, not the Brady Bunch, not the Life of Riley, none of that stuff. There was no representation for us. And then in the 60s and 70s, there was a representation in terms of images, but it was a false representation of who we were. That's why the Cosby Show was so influential and important, because it showed you a positive image, as opposed to what's happening, a single black woman raising kids, as opposed to Good Times, you know, working family who just can't get it together no matter how hard they try. It's almost like doom and gloom for black people. And when we did start pulling it together in the 90s, you know, when everything was about dropping science and Peace My Brother by Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and Granddaddy IU and Lakim Shabazz and Queen Latifah, we could go on and on. But our music was about educating each other, teaching each other. This is where most of us got our lessons and heard that we're God. We heard that in our music. So it made us change our mind. That's what prompted us to put down the swine and start eating better and treating each other better, calling each other brother. But then they realized you can't control a free people, a people who are free, a people who think for themselves and have self-determination. You can't control them. And if you can't control the oppressed people, you in essence lose the power that you have, because all your power comes from oppressing people. So again, they start pumping millions of dollars into what we see today, where our young people just talk about killing each other. I can't tell you how many young people been murdered in my hood this summer alone. It's just killing. It was a funeral, was it last night? There's so many funerals. There's so many funerals. And rest in peace to all the brothers who was murdered and slain. But all of this is done intentionally. All of this is done by design, because this didn't go on in my father's era, nor my grandfather's era. Yeah, you had fights, you had murders, but not to this scale, to where we only look to murder each other. So I'm gonna wrap it up and say, yeah, these people, the forces that be, is influencing and controlling the perceived culture, the subculture, as it was brought up earlier, as the brother said earlier. There's a subculture to hip hop right now. And that extra layer they added was a layer of genocide. This is what Prince was fighting against. This is Michael Jackson was fighting against, because they knew that the real money is in distribution. All four of us can own our own record labels, but if we can't get it to the people to buy it, then what good is it? I mean, Ryan Leslie tried to show people the blueprint, you know, in terms of how to market and sell your own music. But then what did they do? They start censoring how we move on the internet now. So we can't even say certain words. We got to say jabs, and we got to use code words now just to talk, because there is no longer any free speech. So we can't express ourselves unless you come here to Thorough Black Talk, where we gonna give you the real on how it really works. You know what I'm saying? But again, we're preaching to the choir, because this is what the young people need to hear. This is what the people in the music industry really need to hear. And we really have to put the pressure on them people. We have to put the pressure on the P. Diddy's, as much as we celebrate the locks. And I love where the locks are right now in terms of Styles and Jada and Sheik's growth, because they've matured. Because it's only right. You know, after you've seen so much death and destruction, how much of that can you rap about? How much of that will you promote when you realize how powerful your words is? I mean, and not to be on the Bible thumping stuff, but what it says in the beginning was the word. You know what I'm saying? Even when you talk about the ancient Kemetic creation, there's the word in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? There was Amen, and then there's Ptah, and then from Ptah, it comes Atum. And then from Atum comes Ra, and then, you know, it goes down like that. But Ptah is the creative thought. Ptah is the thought of Amen. And that thought becomes manifested through Atum, which these folks jacked it. Because remember, Atum is A-T-U-M. Atum is omnipresent, but so is the A-T-O-M. Atom is omnipresent. And this is where they get it from. The atom is the first physical thing in the universe. Ptah is the creative thought. So, but when people control how you think, what are you creating? You're creating death. You're creating destruction. Unless you get right knowledge, then you start creating life. You start creating prosperity. I mean, it's a deeper science that goes into it. But once we get back to our right mind, we'll understand it. And I always use the Bible for layman's terms, because most people aren't familiar with Kemetic teachings and science. Because it's even deeper than what I just said. It's just give you a basic of how it goes down, you know. But I digress. That's just
Well said, King.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So I don't want to keep the brother too long, because I know he's away in Cape Verde. So we don't want to keep him up too long. You know, shout out to our brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa. We always appreciate you all tuning in. Every week we got brothers and sisters from the continent who tune into our program, and we definitely appreciate you all. But our brother, your final thoughts, comments, suggestions, whatever you want to talk about, brother, before we let you get up out of here.
First and foremost, I want to thank y'all for inviting me on the platform once again. It's been a great experience. I truly appreciate y'all. And thanks to the viewers and everybody. Shout out to Angie. Much love. I think we covered pretty much everything. Like I said, I'm an author. I got a book I just released this year. It's called The Afro Set. If you want to learn about a group of Black people that fought back physically and economically, you know what I'm saying, check it out.
I want to learn.
Appreciate you, brother. And we definitely got to have you back in the near future.
For sure. Because see, this book, it stay packed with questions. I don't get enough time to be asking all the questions. I'll be trying to fall back so my brothers could get in here. But when I have a guest, I write them up. I don't play no games. Because, you know, thorough conversation and dialogue is critical. So definitely got to have you back again. Again, family, check out the website. You see the link in the chat. It's posted up on the screen. We're going to put it up on our Thorough Black Talk Worldview social media pages, so you guys could check it out at your leisure. And check out the brother. He got a fly YouTube channel for sure. So check him out. Check out the interviews that he's doing. Follow him so that you can stay abreast and hopefully maybe one day join him. So again, brother, we thank you for coming in and checking us out. It's been a pleasure. And whatever you have going on, you just shoot me a message, because Tad and Ashe ain't going to answer, but shoot me a message.
Keisha, you saw that message? Don't be fronting like I don't be telling you about the message.
This is Ashe. Ashe go, Keisha, we got messages. That means,
Look, I don't
Keisha,
answer my
you check
personal
them
messages.
out and then you let us know. That's what that means.
Gotta go through Keisha.
Look, I'm
Again,
guilty because I don't answer my personal messages, so I ain't even gonna act like
look,
I'm
look,
perfect.
look. See. Truth will set you free.
That's just because Tad don't know how to work his phone. That's all.
He sure don't. But again, brother, thank you for joining us. Again, it's been a pleasure. And whenever you're ready to come back, just let me know. We got you.
All right, peace, family.
Peace.
Salute, warrior. Keep doing what you're doing. We love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I pulled Tad out. There you go.
No, I'm
All
right.
All right, good. That's what's up. So again, family, the link is in the chat. Check out his website. And later on, before I go to sleep, I will post the link on the Thorough Black Talk Instagram and Facebook pages. Follow our new Instagram page, Thorough Black Talk Worldview. I'm going to pull it up before we close out. We had to change some things around, so we definitely appreciate that. But, you know, as we was talking about, you know, it's critical that we take control of our culture.
Very important.
Because as we see things are going awry, you know, one of the reasons, and I haven't eaten pork since I was 15 years of age, that came by way of KRS-One. I haven't touched it since. I began to study because of the messages in the hip hop that we had in the 80s and 90s. I was on it, like on it hard. And not just me, all my friends, everybody around us. We was on it. We still had the party vibe. You know, I'm the party queen. We still had the vibe, but that study was very critical. And that's what I'm saying. You know, is the music reflecting the times, or is a propaganda being pushed to make you think and behave in a certain way?
It's a bit of both. I'm not going to take it back in what I said. It's a bit of both, man, because look, we also have the ability, just like you, me, and Ty, we don't listen to that kind of crazy music. Everybody else out here got the same ability to not buy these records. You know what I'm saying? So, like, although there is a brainwashing and a propaganda going on, and I definitely agree with that. I mean, you said it yourself. He said that the old folks need to leave hip hop. Well, that's the reason why hip hop is like this, because them old folks ain't really do what they dropped the ball. If the old folks would have did it right, they would have took the money they made from their records, and all of them would have went in the direction that Jay-Z did when it comes to owning their masters and then owning their own companies and then putting music out and then trying to get into the OGs like Big Daddy Kane. They not supposed to be broke. They supposed to all be billionaires. It's just that they wasn't educated and they didn't learn how to master the industry and the business of music. And a lot of artists don't want to be in the business of music, period. You know what I'm saying? If you're an artist, you're an artist. That's what you do. Some people don't want to go into business of music. So I get that. But the ball has been dropped because these black executives that were in the music industry were supposed to be rearing other people underneath them to take control so we could grow and take the distribution and things of that nature, instead of having this little narrative, this small narrative out of so many different artists like Camp Cleveland, so many RBG artists that put music out. We never hear about them because they only want to promote one single thing, you know? So I definitely think it's a bit of both, though.
Yeah, it's both, but people don't know what they don't know. You know, most people that come into the music industry are artists. They're just that. They're not businessmen. And we really got to understand that's how the game going a lot, and how this record industry works. It was founded by gangsters. The whole show business field and genre. You think when we made music in times of antiquity in Africa, and even when we came here, our music here, our spirituals and all that stuff, our blues, it was to uplift each other. Our music was cultural. It wasn't to be monetized and marketed and sold. It was for the spirit. But then these folks realized, yo, we can make money off of this. And that's what they do. They try to monetize everything. So if you making something from the heart out of love, and then somebody come like, yo, I could get us paid for it, you're not thinking about the business. You're doing it because this is your gift. This is your talent that the Creator blessed you with. But then these devils come and they manipulate you. And that's why they hated and killed Jackson. Because Michael Jackson did it from the heart, and they thought they was gonna play him, but they couldn't, because he grew up in it and he paid attention. And that's why they murdered him. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a business. We can't make no mistake about that. If you want to make music just on the strength of making music, then by all means, don't expect to sell millions of records. Just sit on the block and play it for your boys. But if you want to get paid, in this game and sustain your life, then you got to enter this arena. And in this arena, it's nasty, it's filthy, it's cutthroat. And you have no friends, and you have to be clear about that. And if you stand tall on your own too, look at how who is it they killed? Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, Prince, Pimp C, Whitney Houston. All of these people were murdered. Let's make no mistake about this. They were murdered. You really dealing with, and it's genocide. So not only is it genocide in the message, it's genocide in the business practices, because if you don't act right, we're just gonna kill you and get away with it. So can we be clear? You know what I'm saying? The 9 areas of human activity that Dr. Francis Cress Wilson talked about, and Hollywood and the music industry go hand in hand, you know? And we have to design, we really have to be smart. We have to be sharp enough to create our own industry and not let these people in. Because unfortunately, we keep letting these people in thinking, oh, nah, they cool. Even when we go overseas, you know, we a celebrity over there, but do they really respect us for us being human, or what they can make off of us? Because bet your dollar they making money off of us over there too, whether we go over there as musicians or whether we go over there as ball players. We're not the only ones getting paid. They're still getting paid off of our talent as well. And it's just the way of the world. I mean, that's just how it is, until we as a group figure out a way to finagle it and come up with a system that works exclusively for us, like other groups came up with a system that works exclusively for them. And then we can start exploiting other groups. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if we got Jet Li and Jackie Chan making karate movies for Black folks, and we reaping all the benefits while they making Rush Hour 10. You know what I'm saying? That'd be dope. You know what I'm saying?
This is the reason why I say it's a bit of both, bro, because what you said was 100% factual. But once again, we talking about the industry. So if we talking about the industry, then you talking about the industry is their industry. So that's why I agree with what you said about we have to take it upon ourselves and do it in our own manner and control it our own way. But if we think that we're going to come in the music industry as it is now in their industry and change something, that's not going to happen.
Oh, of course not. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about changing.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, for instance, like you mentioned like Jerry Heller and things of that nature, right? Well, Ice Cube and Easy, then they start banging on Jerry Heller after they signed with him. Then they start banging on him, right? He starts saying Jerry Heller is the devil. But then after Ice Cube got free and Easy, all of them got free. Oh no, it was Ice Cube that got free. He went to somebody else to start making the same kind of music he was making. So it's something in our mind at the same time that we got to have a backbone to stand up on our own and be like, I'm not going to make this kind of music. I'm not going to push this propaganda. And I'm not going to go into this industry that's theirs, because once we're in their industry, then they control the narrative. And then lastly, I just wanted to say, there's a lot of artists right now that are independent, selling records on their own, charging whatever money that they want. Nipsey Hussle did it. He was selling stuff out the back of his car trunk. He was selling his mixtape for $100 and people was actually buying it. That's how he came on. Lloyd Banks just put out an independent.
Well, he was on before that. He did that as an experiment and it worked.
That's what I'm saying. You can do things independently. You don't have to sign to a major label, because once you do, then you got to play that game. But we have a lot of independent artists that are selling stuff on their own and still making this kind of music. Still doing this detrimental stuff.
Now check the fly part. that's what I said. Independent, cool. That's why I said all of us can have a record label. The money's in the distribution. Because you're independent, but how do you get it over there? How do you get it on these platforms? How do you get it on Tidal? How do you get it on Spotify? Or do people come to your website? You know what I'm saying?
That's real independent.
Right.
Be on Tidal. You can't expect to be on your Tidal.
Right, but then you're not even exposed for people to really to have the traffic come to your website. And I mean, it's not impossible. It's not
But that's true, bro. But remember, what did they say in that song? You older than me. Hip hop started out in the park.
Yeah, we used to do it out
in the dark. That's what we gotta get back to. Word of mouth. We run we create the culture. We are the culture. Nobody can
monetize the culture, and that's my point.
It is nothing.
Monetize it. It's the difference from the creation, and that's what I'm saying. It's the difference from the creation as an artist and the monetization as a business, and that's what I'm saying. That's where the line is drawn, because you don't see any artist manage himself. You know what I'm saying? That's where your managers come in, and they don't even have A&Rs anymore. But you got people that handle the business while you do the creation. And most artists are not business savvy. That's why a dude could be a dope MC. He could be the dopest, but he's not out there because he's not business savvy. He's not a businessman. And then here comes some slick silver tongue dude who sound like he know what he's talking about, come and rob you out of all your money. And that happens to so many of these artists. Because to your point, it is their industry. And that's what I'm saying. We need to create something of our own. That is the only thing we are missing, because we keep watching what other people doing instead of focusing on what we're doing. It's like a fifth grader keep looking at another kid's test, looking at what he's doing instead of paying attention to his own test. So then when that kid goes up there with 100, what you got to show for it? Because you're worried about what other people doing instead of worrying about what's in front of you. And us as a group, that's one of our problems. One of our problems. We watch what other people do as opposed to develop something for us and then keep other people at bay, elbow them like, nah, I'm working on this. They're like, well, let me help. Nah, I got this. But then in addition to that, we got to have the character and trustworthiness amongst ourselves, not to come in with that Eurocentric mindset, because there's nothing wrong with getting paid for your creation. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? If we're created in God's image and God is the creator, that's the power that was given to us. Where do you think inventions come from? All these dope songs, everything that's in existence right now, from this light to these iPads all these electronics is on, came out of somebody's mind. So there's not nothing we can't do because we created civilization. What we got to do is remember who we are. And this is why they're going so hard. Even to your point about what's number one on Joe Biden's agenda, what's the number one bullet? Vaccinate all the unvaccinated. But who they say the most resistant to the vaccines right now? Us, Black folks. We the ones who don't want to take that. Why? Because we got a healthy mistrust of the government. Because what has history shown us? What do they do? And we know for a fact that all of this is experimental, because it went from 1 jab to 2. Now they're saying you may have to take a booster every 5 to 6 months now, because this thing is still morphing. So
I'll tell you one thing.
What's going on? Say it again.
I'll tell you one thing. If they say you need a jab to get access to the liquor store, all our people, we asked out. We asked out, fam, because everybody wanted to get they Hennessy,
you know,
in the hood. They
really the sad part. And hopefully they turn to the brothers that was institutionalized and learn how to make hooch. Make your hooch in the game. Like, you don't need the liquor store. Bring me that bread. Give me that fruit. Come on, man. Let's sit this and shake it up and let it sit for a minute. And we make our own. Come on. We was doing moonshine. Come on, man. Who created Jack Daniels now? Come on. Let's talk about it. But we forget who we are. We forget what we're capable of. We don't need nobody. But see, that's how parasites work. Parasites need a host. So they'll take what they can from us, but they won't kill us wholesale because they need a few of us around so they can continuously leech off of us. That's who they are, and that's just how the game goes. And until we wake up and remember who we are. We are gods by nature. And not the mystery one sitting on the cloud, but the one that was sent here to have dominion over the planet. We one of the newest species on the planet. I mean, in the human tree, we're the oldest. But in terms of species, roaches and alligators and birds are older than us. But why do we have dominion? Because there's something special about us. And we keep forgetting what that specialness is. So we watch other people big up their dice off of what we create. They big up their whole culture off of what we taught years ago. We forgot what they stole out of them temples and pyramids when they ransacked Africa, which made Alexander the rape instead of Alexander being great. They stole our knowledge. And then when they came to the continent, they stole children. They stole educated people and children. They stole royal families. And they killed off warriors. But a lot of this stuff is buried in the sands of time. And we be forgetting, and we got to remember. So what a lot of our folks do is they'll read a book and just regurgitate it as opposed to internalize it and make it manifest. You know, I think our brother Peace could say that's what we call let your knowledge be born. If you know this stuff, produce it, let it manifest, bring it forth. That's what let your knowledge be born, show and prove. You say you know this, you say you know that, you say you guard this, you say you guard that, then show and prove. But we're not showing and proving. What I see a lot of our folks do, unfortunately, is complain. Now, of course, it's not us and our audience, because we got a super sophisticated audience, and salute everybody who did come out. Sister Pat, you know what I'm saying? Empress Filet, and everybody who came out is truly appreciated, because we have a quality group. And our ministry should be to go preach the word of who we are. And I ain't saying you got to go and cite the lessons and be like, yo, we God body, you my earth. But just have knowledge itself. Let's just have right knowledge and start challenging people's thought process, making them think about things critically. Because right now, we at the end game. We at the end game where people are taking these vaccines because people don't want to lose their job. And that's just what it is. They're tampering with people's livelihoods. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm no Bible thumper, but I remember when the Bible talked about in the Revelations, the cashless society. These things are what they prophesized. They already gave you the plan and the blueprint of how they plan on moving. But we be forgetting who we are, because all that stuff is allegorical. Just like the writings and teachings on the wall in Kemet is allegorical. There was no hawk-headed man walking around. It was allegorical. But we got to take the message from what's left. They just perverted a story that already existed. So I like to use the Bible for laymen, because most people aren't into ancient Kemet. You know what I mean? So even when you try to, you gotta talk to the people in their language. You can't teach the people if you can't reach the people. So you have to find something that's relative to them and really make it make sense. You know?
Yeah, yo, I gotta cut out, family. I got my good brother Mia is having an art installation right now, so I gotta go support
no doubt.
I'm
Peace and blessings on him.
Yeah, man, he's a modern day Basquiat, but better, because he ain't in no funny stuff. But he got some dope work, man. So make sure y'all check out his website. It's art, I believe it's artofmere.com. ARTOFMERE. I just bought a piece.
Put it on the Thorough Black Talk Worldview page when you get a chance.
I just bought a piece and I had it shipped to my mother as a late birthday gift. She loved it, man. So if y'all need any gifts, holiday season is approaching, or whatever you want, family, birthdays, or even just to treat yourself, y'all can check his website out. The brother is an amazing painter. He's a Haitian descendant. Shout out to my brother. So I gotta go shoot over to this spot. Y'all know Basquiat's bottle on Fulton.
Yeah, on Fulton and Bedford.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot over there real quick and support, hold him down, man. But listening audience, this has been a pleasure. Shout out to our guests. Please go check out his website. We be back at you, man. We're gonna share the information, share the links in the chat and on our page and everything like that. But thank y'all for everybody that supports everything that we do. This your brother Ashe SJ signing out. I'll see y'all next Thursday. Peace.
Peace.
See you, brother Ashe. We coming down to the end anyway, family. But I wanted to say what Brother Tab was talking about as it relates to leaders of industry. Unfortunately, business model for us as a people cannot be the same as the Yoruba because you will get the same result. So when you look at those in the industry of music who were black and are moguls or deemed moguls, like your Berry Gordy's, your Sean Combs, your Russell Simmons, and so on and so forth,
Sylvia Robinson's.
right? They follow the same business model for the Yoruba and pushed Berry Gordy was a pop music assembly line, if you will. All of the music was pretty much the same, keeping it safe so that it can cross over. As an artist, as Brother Taz said, you might not know the business side. And sometimes people just want to eat. They want to get some bread. They out here hurting and they just want to eat. So they're going to do whatever they are told to do so they could get that bread, even though they're getting shortchanged. Because artists never make what they're really worth. Even as independents, they don't make what they're really worth. And that's the crime. That's the crime that has been happening ever since the pressing of records began. The thievery started back then. So again, talking from someone who had a production deal with Electric Records, my songs is about yapping up the Yoruba, all of them, yapping up the Yoruba. I was told, nah, we got to switch that up. Then I'm not doing it. Well, if you walk away from this, then you got to pay us so-and-so. Really? I'm bringing the real goons up here. Now say that again. See, when I see these brothers and sisters who claim to be of the streets and you let some pencil neck in a suit dictate what you should do, but you got all this bravado for everybody else, that's a sucker move to me. Very good friend of mine, back in the 90s, used to work for Chase Bank. Urugu, supervisor, manager, whatever you want to call him, got out of line. And he laid him out flat, cold on the ground, walked away from it. So until we understand that we got everything to lose, we're going to continue to get the same. So, as our young people come up and older people, because older people is sometimes even worse, Brother Tad, some of the behaviors. I'm like, how old are you? Like, for real, you got people in their 40s and 50s trying to compete with 15-year-olds. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. I don't want to dress like a 15-year-old. I don't want to speak like a 15-year-old. I'm not on the level of thinking of a 15-year-old, so why would my behavior be that of a 15-year-old? But again, that is the propaganda machine, as Brother P said earlier, that's pushing this information to you, which leads me back to what we started with these mandates. Now, Brother Tad, you know that we've been saying for quite some time, where the hell these unions at?
Yeah.
Where they at? What is their responsibility? And we don't have a crystal ball or anything like that. I just follow history and I know the law. But now that you have all of these unions across the country who are speaking out on behalf of their membership for a right to choose, is there a hidden agenda behind the scene? And I say yes. I know it to be so. In fact, a lot of these union delegates are waiting for their handout from some of the money that's being spread around. And we're going to deal with that again next week because that takes a little bit time for me to break that down. And yes, I do have the paperwork. I'm not just flapping my gums. I know what some of these union heads are doing. And it's to the detriment of their membership. But as members, it is your responsibility to put pressure on said delegates to represent your voice because you pay them to do so. It's just like an attorney. You pay an attorney to represent you. That attorney is supposed to fight on your behalf, not the states. That's something legal aids do. You got legal aid, you in trouble. You're already going up the river. But your paid attorney is supposed to represent your interests. The same with union heads. They are supposed to represent the interests of their membership. And right now, you have memberships, and not just government workers, in the private sectors who belong to unions. You pay them. Watch and mark my words. All of this hoopla that's going on, they're going to lead their union members straight to the trough. Because one large union here in the city of New York, their media representative said that they were particularly perturbed that Mayor de Blasio didn't sit down and have a conversation with them as to how they should educate their membership on the process of getting the jab. So, are they fighting for your voice, or are they fighting for a piece of the pie? Because there's a lot of money involved in this.
Yes.
This is big money. That's why they're pushing it so hard. Right now, the U.S. is out of Afghanistan. That was a money war. All wars are money wars. Anybody with any ounce of military education can tell you that. As soon as Biden announced that he was pulling out of Afghanistan, I sold my Boeing stock. Yes, indeed. Sunk it all. And now it is tanking until they find something else to get into. But I want the membership to be very careful and to be steadfast on your representation, just like the voters. You voted for political representation. If you have a difference of opinion and your political representatives are only legally and politically, I want to be very careful with my words here, legally and politically one-sided, it's illegal. See, they have to stand down. And this is why you had this recall in California right now. There was a loophole in the law that they were able to take advantage of to recall the election governorship for Gavin Newsom. And be careful of black faces in high places, because that is a gatekeeper to keep you from fighting. People say, oh, that's one of us. They must have our best interests at heart. No, ma'am, no, sir. No, ma'am, no, sir. So again, because we're running out of time, I can't break this all down. But one thing I want you all to do for me today, I want you to really study your state constitution and the federal constitution. You can get it. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up on YouTube real quick for you all. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see, share. Okay. Come on. Here we go. Right here, you have the U.S. Constitution, right? Now, it is audio and it is written, so you can listen as you read along, right? As you get down to the Bill of Rights and said amendments, stop, pause, and compare it with your state constitution. Because here is where the conflict of interest comes in. And this is why we have to watch states like Texas, Florida, and Georgia, who are now pushing more towards states' rights, because they see what the federal government is doing. I told you in the beginning, the U.S. Supreme Court has not caught up to technology. They're trying so they say, their best to catch up to it, to grab hold of it, so that they can preside over what is coming before them, to argue the statue back of misrepresentation of political voices. You, as a citizen, have the right to abstain from the vote and represent yourselves politically. See, the more you vote, the more you give up your power for someone else to speak for you. And this was a fear of their founding fathers, not mine, not Tad's, but I believe it was Benjamin Franklin who said, any person who would give up liberty for democracy does not deserve neither. And that is what we've been doing as Black people. You have been giving up liberty for an illusion of democracy. If you had democracy, we wouldn't be suffering the same fate that we continue to suffer from, like the sister in Chicago who was assaulted by a police officer while she was walking her dog. And all you gentrifiers, all you millennials and Gen Xers who think you part of the clique, you move into these gentrified neighborhoods and you're not aware of who you are, the history of the state or municipalities in which you live. You don't even have a patrolman's guide. You don't know anything. You just think, yeah, I can rock with them. Go ahead. They're showing you better than they can tell you. This is a dangerous time, now more than ever. And people were so worried about Donald Trump. The real one is before you. The real devil is before you. But because he can play a great flute and lullaby your thought process, you fell for the okie doke. I bet you, Brother Tad, if someone said that everybody who voted for President Biden spent 30 days in jail, people will pay close attention to these political platforms. See, nothing that he is doing is out of the blue. If you had read the political platform, which we here on this platform encouraged you all to do, there is no way in hell, in your right mind, you would have placed a vote for him. Because you so afraid of the overt racists. You didn't realize what was happening in the background. So I'm going to step off my soapbox because we coming to the end. But next week, family, we're going to deal with this legal platform because I want you all to understand how the law and politics go hand in hand with your everyday decision. And these are two arenas, Brother Tad, that our people are most ignorant of.
Exactly.
And they know that. And that's why you have so much distraction, police shootings, celebrity gossip, all kind of craziness. So we're going to get into all of that. And we also, hopefully I'll have Dr. Ajua on here next week. We're going to deal from a cultural realm, what we've been talking about today as it relates to music, as it relates to our identity here in this country, not just here, but how we identify abroad. Very critical. So hopefully next week we'll have Dr. Ajua. We've been missing each other on the phone this week, but Sister Keisha gonna lock it down. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. You're gonna want to be here next week for this one. And I know my brother Tad has some education that he must progress in. So family, he gonna be in and out. There's some weeks you're not gonna see him because we have to move forward. We have to continue to educate ourselves. And believe me, brother Tad, I understand. Yes. Taking these law classes is killer because I not only study here, but in other municipalities around the country. So it's a lot of information that I have to stay abreast of because we are in media. because we want to be entrepreneurs. And there's a lot of guidelines that are going to be changing for the new entrepreneurs. It's going buckle up, and the tax laws ain't playing with you either.
That's
So,
right.
so again, we got to continue to educate ourselves. So we want to make sure our brother continue to progress and be the best that he is for himself, for his family, and for us as a community.
No,
Do
shit.
your thing, brother.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
are always got your back 100%.
I appreciate you, sis. Like you said, I'll be in and out, and a lot of these courses will be on Thursday nights as well. So, it's definitely going to be a challenge. But and I always encourage all of our folks. You know what I'm saying? Let's constantly develop our minds. We start aging the moment we stop learning, and we can learn something new every day. There's nothing wrong with getting certifications, going back to school, taking classes, getting degrees. There's nothing wrong with that. Reading updated books, because as you can see, this world is so different from what we grew up in. For what we were prepared for, we weren't prepared for this world that we're in now. So we don't even know how to prepare our children. So it's important that we definitely always upgrade our internal data, because yesterday's solutions aren't going to solve today's problems. And we got to be clear on that. That's why marching no longer works. That's why sit-ins no longer work. We really have to just jump off the radar real quick. I think the last time Dr. Frances Cress Welsing was in New York, she asked a rhetorical question, which I thought was very poignant. She said, imagine if Black folks just kept quiet. If we didn't say nothing, just stop talking so much. Stop telling our business. Stop telling what we want to do and what we're going to do. Imagine if we just was quiet. How much of an uproar this country would be in, this world would be in. Like, what are they thinking about? What's going on? Why are they so quiet? Because we always want to talk. And we seldom talk around solutions or even to identify the covert problems. Because a lot of these problems are covert. And this is why thorough Black talk is so important, because we peel back the layers and help you look at it with a critical African eye to realize that they're just sugarcoating a bunch of crap. They just, as orange juice, as not orange juice Jones, as Samuel Jackson said in the movie Juice, just because you pour syrup on crap don't make it pancakes. And that's what they're doing. They just pouring syrup on crap, saying, here, y'all, these are the new kind of pancakes. Try these. And we eating it. And we're dying, And like I always say, we're not here just to talk. We're talking about our survival. God bless my mother. She's passed away, And I would say following this agenda, a lot of times, and even, and I want to say this real quick, sis, before we sign out, I want to say rest in peace to Michael K. Williams, right? Michael K. Williams is the uncle of a very close friend of mine, and I see a lot of people have their opinions about the brother. I never met him personally, but his nephew is my brother I was in these streets with, who I knew, who I could trust with my life, who we've been back to back out here on these streets. So when a comrade is in pain, I can't help but to feel pain. And sometimes it hurts me because I think about how does he feel seeing all of this slander and nastiness people are saying about this brother's uncle. He's actually the one who found him. He's actually the one who found him. We spoke via inbox, we was going back and forth, sending my condolences, and he's sending his appreciation because that's my brother, So whether I agree with Michael K. Williams' lifestyle or whatever, is of little consequence, because the one thing I keep telling our folks, we got to remember how to love each other too. And all our faults and flaws, we forgot how to love each other, man. Because if people really knew who I used to be, now, I never raped nobody and I ain't never hurt no children, but I probably bust your brother head open. Probably sent your brother to the hospital, did him dirty, make you hate me. You know what I'm saying? So don't love me now. You know what I'm saying? We got to give our people room to grow. And if we say we love our folks, then let's just love them, man. Let's stop with all these stipulations. We see how many people we lost in the last 2 years. I see people call people coons all the time. And I'm like, do you go to your family gatherings and call them coons? Because I'm quite sure people in your family still eat pork, go to church, all that stuff that you say you're against. Go to your family and find out. You know what I'm saying? But it pains me because how can you help a people that's trying to hurt other people? We gotta, and I ain't saying we gotta co-sign negative behavior. That I am not saying at all. But I'm saying let's love each other out of this pain that we're all in. Because when people turn to drugs, they're in pain. I have people in my family that's close to me that has been on drugs, and I celebrate them being off of drugs. You know what I'm saying? But we have to stop this, man. We have to stop, because I'm starting to question people's loyalty to the race. As much as they say, I love black people, I'm race first, but all you do is bang on your race first. So if you really understand what we're up against and what we're fighting, you should understand that the people that you're hating is the victims to these very things that you're fighting against. You can't be against gun violence and then get mad at the person who got shot with a gun. It's a contradiction. And we got to clear all contradictions. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we support negative behavior, but I'm saying let's get back to loving, because I'm watching people tear Michael K. Williams up, but this is my brother's uncle, and he's hurting. And how can I console him when everybody's attacking this man's uncle? I got gay people in my family, and when they die, I damn sure don't want to hear nobody talking bad about them, because ain't no gay people in my family touch me wrong, no time, ever. Ever. When they had to watch the kids, they did just that. They watched and fed the kids. Ain't none of that going on in my crib. And I promise you.
Mine either.
I promise you that. So I don't want to hear, it's good that faggot did, it's good that faggot did. Because gay people in my family, you know, I don't support that neither. In fact, Sister Keisha, real quick, we was at a family funeral and one of my cousins came up to me. And she's gay, and she gave me a big hug. Said, I love everything you're doing, even with straight black pride. I love it all. I love everything you're doing, Tad. Don't stop. And she's in the lifestyle. Other family members, men who are in that lifestyle, because they know who I am, because I don't treat them no different. And I don't say nothing I haven't said at home and in the house. That's why you don't hear me disrespecting people, except those who need to be disrespected, like the charlatans in the community who post themselves as leaders. But meanwhile, robbing the people. Because guess what? If you was in my family and you was doing it, I'm going to get at you too. Like where grandma changed from the store. She sent you to the store with a $20 bill, where $15 at. I'm on to check you. Same with this community. You want to build a school, you want to build something for the people, but you're not producing, you got to get checked. But again, family, you know, I just want to say, let's get back to loving each other. Let's remember to remember who we are. We're beautiful, glorious people, man. We don't have to accept the identity that these people forced on us to always be angry, to always be negative towards each other. We got a right to be angry, but let's direct our anger at the right people in the right place. And not only direct that anger, but let's challenge that energy into developing ourselves to be better people. This is why I'm taking other courses. This is why I encourage people to grow, because I honestly believe in redemption of black people. I honestly do. You know, we keep talking about Africa, but anybody been to Africa know there's a lot of corruption going on over there too. So it ain't we gonna trade in one oppression for another. But once we get ourselves right, we can go wherever we going with the whole idea and mindset to put things right in its proper order, in its proper context. So hopefully you was inspired by what you heard tonight. We definitely want to salute our guests. Peace to Brother Ashe, you know, and it's your turn to go out and inspire others. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, it's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Again, always great words of wisdom from my brother Tad. And, you know, as we always say here, education is key. And again, you know, we have members in our family. They know how I rock, but if you touch one hair on their head, God help you. God help you. You understand? So we have to be mindful. If you want to reach the people and teach the people, you can't beat them up. You can't, that's an abusive relationship. You can't punch me in my face and then say, I love. that ain't working. I'm not into abusive relationships. There are ways to get things done. But how a lot of us move, especially when you have no validity in the streets, in your own families, some of these folks, let's go to their family and see what their family members think about them. Start right there. You could go to our families, Tad's, mine's, and they will tell you the truth. They will tell you the truth. I'm always protective of them. Always. From when we was kids. And still to this day. I never had set folks. In fact, it was straight folks that assaulted me. Be clear. Be clear, or so they claim to be. But we are not pushing one lifestyle or death style. We're just saying to have some love and respect for your people, because you can get more bees with honey than you can with doo-doo. Mm-hmm. You understand? They will listen more and learn more if your palate on how you speak to them is correct. I know this brother from partying days. I never seen him do no shenanigans. I didn't even know about it until he became an actor, to be honest with you. So whatever he was doing, he kept it to himself. However, as Brother Taz said, a lot of our people are hurting. A lot of our people are addicted to drugs, and now that they've legalized marijuana all throughout the country, y'all better be careful. These exotic brands and so on and so forth. You don't know what the hell is in it. You don't know what's in it. So be careful. Be careful. So again, family, we will see you black again next week. Do the best that you can. Be the best of who you are. Continue to educate yourself. Be mindful when you teaching folks. Reach people where they at. They might not be where we at. Teach them where they at. You understand? We was feeding homeless people out there, the Staten Island Ferry. You know, walking up to people who smell like 10 years ago. And the brother he had tears in his eyes. He said, "You gonna actually come to me? Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? Sit down and talk to me? Why wouldn't I? Because one day I could be going through the ferry and he might be the one to save me." You understand? He might be the one to save me. The sister had no shoes on her feet. You understand? Got her information, made sure she got a pair of shoes. She might be the one to feed me soon. The way everybody losing their employment, losing their businesses, they might have to feed us.
Yeah.
You understand? We go in the belly of the beast for real. Not just flapping off at the gums on YouTube or Instagram or anything else, or doing Twitter finger revolutionary work. We out here for real. Women that we have touched who running from abusive relationships in hiding to put a smile on their face. We didn't have to. Tad, Ashe, and myself, along with Brother Ray 100 Blacks, we didn't have to go to that church up in Crown Heights. We didn't have to do that.
Right.
Right? But our approach was to secure that child. Secure her well-being. Ray didn't have to go to all the court dates to be a representative for her. Y'all don't know how Ray get down.
Look, I always see Brother Ray in the gym. So I don't want no issues with Brother Ray.
Well, you know, but we all have a story. We all have a story. So, I could have pulled your man back in the days. Don't sleep. So you don't know. You don't know. Let's be clear. But again, we're gonna step off the soapbox. It's getting late. I gotta go to bed. See y'all again black next week. Hopefully we'll have Dr. Ajua on deck with us. But y'all stay up. We out of here, y'all. We going home.
I want to shout out Baba Sweets. I see C Sweets in the building. That's my elder. He put me on this so much in my early stages of development and still teaching me.
Baba Sweets.
So, Baba, you know I love you and appreciate you, Baba Sweets. You
Baba
already
Sweets a
know
troublemaker too.
All right, peace, family.
Love you, Black family. We are.